Today we're going to look at making a part for the dimmer switch, which goes in behind the headlight switch on a Ford Falcon EL. The small little knob has broken off, so we're going to see if we can make this today. This is the light switch here. I already repaired the main light knob. It actually goes in behind this knob. The part we're going to repair actually goes on to the white part there. It just slides on, actually goes this way, slides on like there, inside there, and then the little knob is to move it up and down. Actual light knob. I've just got I machined this up so that I had a grub screw there to lock onto the flat that's just there, which allows me to turn the lights on. Now I've moved to my milling machine. I've set it up on my rotary table. I set my rotary table to 0. I don't know whether you can see that. It's on 0, right? 0 there. So what I've done is I've set my needle on my tool and centralized the needle, right? And I've wound the table in and out so that I can get the flat section in the center there to 0. All these cutouts seem to be pretty nominal. This cutout here is clearing a little tag that's on the switch. The round sort of a cutout there, I think that's just so you can pull it out, and obviously we have our little knob over here. I've moved out to the side of my job now, and I'm going to start getting my positions for the slots. Basic little drawing here. I've got my 0 point, 0 degrees, and I'm going to go around and pick out all the center lines and the end points, and then at the end, when I put my job back in, I'll have those points. Let's get our positions now. Bring that around now, get our first position, just about there, 10 degrees. So just right, that'll be 10 degrees here. Alright, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay, center of that is, that's about 40 degrees. Go around to our next one, which will be our knob. Somewhere in there, the center of that. Cross those. So that's about 200. And the start point of this there, that will class as 290. So now we have our basic degrees. Now I have my initial drawing here. Right, so I've got the part set up now. I've got a piece of billet here, roughed out my outside. That's going to be basically the outside of the little knob. So now I'll proceed to machine down and make my little back spigot part. Okay, what I'm going to do here is run down the face. I've zeroed out on my front face, and I've put a little line in where I need to stop, so I know basically where to go. I'm just going to run down the face, just take cuts on the face, and that's, I don't know, that's still about 16 or something. We're going to go to 12. So basically we're going to rough the face out. Now we're all roughed out. We're going to look at doing the center hole now. So we can start finishing off this side of the job. So I've finished the other side now. I've turned it round and I've pushed it up against the jaws there to basically transfer the parallel of the job. Now what I'll do is I'll take off just about all all this area here, probably about 99% of it, so I don't touch my jaws. And that will transfer the true face from behind here to the front, and that will allow me to pull the job out and true it up off that front face. I've now moved the job out from the chuck so that we can finish our length, start boring out the center for the recess for the little knob, which is what we're doing here, which is this, bore that out, and then we'll take what we don't need off, which will be around the outside here. We'll take that off on the mill. A little tip for anyone out there: when you're machining off a edge like that, you don't actually try and machine off the full length of it. You machine till it gets pretty thin, and then you machine down around the area where it's going to pop off, and then you'll see when it starts getting really thin, it starts wobbling a little bit. Then you just basically snap it off with your pliers there, and then that way it's not going to fly off and hit you in the head. Part's back to length now, and we're going to look at taking out this center bit now. I've roughed out the bore now. I'm about 0.1 off this face, and I'm about 1 mil off this face. What I'll do is I'll just dial indicate off my front face again, just to make sure it hasn't moved before I finish it. Part's finished now, and we can see here that we've got enough clearance there for the little knob to come around the side there and clear that, not be in the way. So we'll head over to the mill. Got our job set up in the mill now, and we're going to put some small marks around the job so we can reference those and machine to them. It's got a small center drill set up there so we can start marking out our job. I've got it basically set up for the small D in the center. When we go to do that part, I've got some reference marks to weld a piece in there. So there's my reference marks for my D for the center. I've got two in the center there. I've got one on the outside here and one on the outside just there, and that'll allow me to get a line across there to re-zero it. When I do these, I'm going to have to put them on the inside like this one here when I go around the circumference of it. Or if I put it on the top here, that's all going to get machined off. There's all our little reference marks there. A little bit confusing, I suppose, but we've got a little drawing there. We can work out where they all are. So what I'm going to do now is the point where the little knob we want to make, I'm going to put some spots on the outside here because we won't be machining that off, and that's the bit we'll be looking for up here. There's our little marks on the outside there. I've put the center marks in. Then I worked out that the knob's about 5 mil wide, so that's about 6 degrees plus and 6 degrees minus. So I've put those little dots in there, and we can just machine up to them. Here's the jig we're going to use. It's just a piece of bright bar, and I've drilled a clearance hole in the top here and drilled and tapped M8 down inside there. That way our little spigot on the back here can drop into the jig, and then we'll just use a socket egg cap screw down in there and lock it off. I've put two little circles on the dots that correspond with our center D, so that way we know which two dots to line up on when we get our zero mark again. Right, our jig's in place now. We have a job set up to zero on our two center marks, which is one there and one over here. I've got it all screwed down nice and tight. I've got a basic 2-tipped cutter, so we can chew this lip off basically up to our mark here where our little knob's going to go. Basically rough it out, take all that off the stars. Now we'll put another cutter in, and we'll get our diameter around here for what we were looking for. we've got the outside off now, so let's look at doing the smaller inside diameter. I've got about a 6mm cutter, so now we'll go around and do pretty much the same thing and get our diameter. Right, now here's a hot tip for any young players out there. I've got a diameter now. I've zeroed out my handle here. Now what I've got is I've got 49.4mm on the diameter. I need 41mm. The difference is 8.4mm. Now when you move your table, you only move it half because you're taking off both sides. Alright, so if you move that full 8.4, it'll take 16.8. Alright, so don't get caught with that and wreck your job. Ready to do our cutouts now. We've got to go to, we've got 2.2 deep on the small radius and we've got 3mm deep on our larger slot. I've zeroed out the machine on our diameter that we've just finished on, so that we can just move in those measurements and then we can just get our slots. Right, there's our little cutouts done. Now what we'll do is we'll come around to the little knob there and see if we can tidy him up and get him to size, make him look a bit nicer. It's looking a little bit more like it now. I've tidied up the little knob area just so I didn't have so many dags on it. So we'll give that a bit of a deburr. Looks fairly good to the other part there. Give that a bit of a deburr and then we'll start looking at making the part for the D. What I've done now is I've machined a small shaft that fits into our original plastic piece. So I've machined that and put a small flat on it so that replicates what the car is. Now with our part that we're making, I've put a couple of bits of weld on each side so that I can file that back and basically fit it to this dummy shaft. Then I know it'll fit in the car. I have the dummy shaft fitting on there now. It took about 5 minutes, which is pretty good. It slides on there quite nicely. Came out quite well. I've got our flat there now, so I'll just give that a clean up. Just used a small square file for the flats obviously, and I just use this round file to do the edges. Right, we're in the car, we're going to fit this part out, see if it fits. Yeah, it's nice. Alright, see if it works. Quite good. Put our headlight knob on. Okay, that's all clear, so that's really good. I'll put a little bit of probably put a little bit of grease, just a real light smear of grease on here because we've got a bit of friction on the back side of our knob. Okay, it's all painted, so we can fit it up. A light smear of grease on there, you can see. This on there. And tighten up our grub screw. Okay. Right, everything works. So that's how you make a Ford Falcon EL dashboard dimmer switch and internal light switch if yours is broken. Thanks for watching DM Engineering. You can subscribe, like, or make a comment. I will be making videos in the future, so please stay tuned.